Okay, this is going to be a quick camera comparison between the HTC One M8 and the Samsung Galaxy S5. Starting off with the HTC One M8, they have kept the same 4 megapixel, 4 ultra pixel rear camera. They've included a secondary camera lens and sensor to help with selective focusing, which we'll talk about in a bit. And they've included a dual LED flash to make your flash photos appear more natural. What they have done, actually, though, is take away the optical image stabilization from the camera module, and that is a pretty big detraction from the original camera. Basically, they've kept the resolution the same with the 4 ultra pixels, but they've taken away that ability to stop handshake by moving the camera around. There was actually an element in there that would prevent that from happening. Samsung, on the other hand, has upped their rear camera to 16 megapixels, which is pretty nice. They've included, they have one LED flash. They do not have a dual LED flash, and there's a heart rate monitor back here too, but it doesn't aid with the camera at all. But there is an option to do selective focusing with the Samsung as well, even though it doesn't have a second camera lens. And this is the Google Play Edition version of the HTC One M8, and this is the standard stock ROM on the Galaxy S5. Both camera apps are fast. Both camera apps appear to not have very much lag. The HTC One on the Google Play Edition is very basic. It's the new version of the Google camera with things like photosphere and panorama video. They've included, like I said, the lens blur feature, which the secondary camera lens helps with. Samsung has actually taken away a lot of their different modes. They used to have a lot more modes in here, and so it's nice to have them clean this up a bit. They've got a beauty face mode now, which will sort of soften the pictures of portraits. They've got your multi-shot for the best picture, panorama, virtual tour, and dual camera where it uses the front and the back, so you get sort of like a postage stamp sort of postcard layout. So they've cleaned this up a little bit, made it a little bit nicer to use, taken away some of the junky features that nobody really liked in the Samsung camera, which is pretty nice to see that happen. Typically, the HTC One has always been sort of lauded as a better indoor camera. People think that the 4 ultra pixels, because the pixels are actually bigger on the sensor, lets in more light, allows for better natural looking photos with indoor available light. And on the M7, that was definitely true. On the M8, while that still remains true, Samsung has gotten a lot closer with that. And I've taken a couple of different pictures of the same subjects here, both indoors and outdoors. This is an example of indoor shots between the two cameras. And granted, you're not in front of a computer and you can't, absolutely tell the difference between these two. But you have to trust me sort of as a photographer and as someone who reviews phones when I say that these cameras are very, very close. They are so close that I actually can't tell which one I like better. And that's actually pretty rare for me to say that. I think that, the color and the quality and the clarity and the sharpness and the saturation and just the overall look and feel for these cameras are so close that I have to look at the metadata to be able to tell which camera produced which image. The HTC One, again, probably has a little bit more I don't know if I'd say accuracy, but you're likely to get a sharper shot indoors handheld because of those 4 ultra pixels. And when I say, what I mean by that is if you look at these two photos right here, you can see that the one in the Galaxy is a little bit blurrier, right? There's a little bit more handshake in there from when I took that photo compared to the one with the HTC One. But it's so close. I mean, there's examples here where I used both of the cameras to take, shots indoors, using the same, the same subject, the same distance, the same handhelds, being, no stabilization, no flash, no assistance, and they're so close that I really can't tell them apart. So, for all intents and purposes, I would say that the HTC One camera and the Samsung camera are almost the same. I mean, they are so close that I would not decide on either of these given the camera performance. So one more thing to talk about is this selective focus thing here that this, like I said, that this camera offers. And if we go to this picture right here, you can actually see that selective focus in action. So that the subject matter is this candle. You can see how the background has been blurred, but you can also see that there's a really weird edge around this too. And so this is pretty gimmicky. I would definitely not buy this phone just because of this sort of cheap gimmick of if you want to do this, buy an SLR or buy a real camera that's going to do it for you using lenses and apertures and the right way to do it. So overall, what are my thoughts on both of these cameras? Well, I think that because they're so close, and I think that the quality of them are both excellent, you have to consider other features of the phone before you make your decision. If you like to take pictures, and if you consider yourself a photographer and you want to have something in your pocket that you can rely on, that takes great quality photos and videos, indoors and outdoors, and has 16 megapixels with the ability to print large from, the Galaxy is the way to go. If you are more interested in casual shooting, maybe you're not so concerned with printing large, or you like the fact that you can share photos easily, you want to try these new features with the secondary camera lens and the dual LED flash, then the HTC One is going to be a good choice. And again, both these guys are excellent cameras. They've both really surprised me, actually, with the quality between the two of them. And so I don't think you can go wrong choosing either of these. Just consider what I said in this video and take that into account when you make your decision. Hope you guys have enjoyed this camera review of these two phones. And don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. Thanks.